Go from scheduled to live. All right, so guys, we're live here with Brendan Young from Seller Systems. Brendan, I understand you are one of the most influential people in all of the sellers of Amazon. You have set up systems, which you've called Seller Systems. And tonight you're joining me live on a live stream on the internet, special event. It's Friday night. And I understand you enjoy boxing. Is this true?
I enjoy boxing. In what sense? Like packaging goods or fighting, hand-to-hand combat?
It can mean so many things. You never know. So you and I were chatting, and you had mentioned that you might be looking at getting tickets to a boxing match, right?
Oh, it's the UFC fight. So I'm getting into Vegas a little early because UFC is doing an event in Vegas the Saturday before Prosper. So okay. I'm going to go watch Conor McGregor get beat up again.
UFC is not boxing.
It is
mixed martial arts. It could be boxing. It could be boxing, but it
could be. He tried boxing and he got beat up there too. I enjoy watching Conor McGregor get beat up. He's it's very fun to root against.
Okay, good. Now, before we get into some crazy stuff, we're going to talk about some things. So before we talk about the things, first of all, it's worth noting that you and I have met in person in the Miami area. And at that time, I was nearly unconscious because I was super, super tired. Like I do not remember what I was doing there. I have pictures.
Yeah, I think we met right before that at Joy's event briefly, right?
Yeah.
And then you drove to Miami while I flew back.
Yeah, well, it gets even crazier. So that was around Houston, right? And so I rented a car. Okay, this is funny. So I flew into Joy's event where I was speaking about print on demand. You were speaking there as well. So we met there, but we didn't really talk a lot there. We saw each other. We knew we were there, but we didn't sit down and chat. And after the event, I did. I had a rental car because I drove myself to the event from the airport. And this was during Merch Madness. Now, if you're not familiar with Merch Madness, I had a book that I was driving around. I was promoting. It's Merch in the World of Print on Demand. And I called the book tour the Merch Madness World Tour. And this was, at that time, that was like the second year of it. So it was going on for quite some time. And when I rented the car, they're like, so what's the purpose of your travel? What brings you to Houston? I'm like, well, I'm an author. I have this book. Like, I can give you a copy. And, I'm on the Merch Madness tour. I'm going to speak at an event. I've never been there before. This is like, I've been in Houston one other time with my wife before. We were doing the Merch Madness tour then. It was like a year ago. Very excited. What should we do about this car? Like, give me a special deal. And they're like, no problem. I got you. Here it is, right? And they slipped me the paper, and I'm looking at it. I have the records and stuff. And I was looking, I'm like, oh, so what's the price on this car? Like, I don't know what I'm going to get. I have no idea what I'm driving, right? And I $0. And I'm like, oh, I get it. So don't pay anything up front. You pay later, whatever, right? And they're like, no, it's free. And I'm like, what do you mean it's free? And they're like, well, I mean, we welcome you to Houston. We just want you to have a nice time. So just take the car. And I'm like,
crazy.
Well, you got my credit card and everything, right? You see my driver's license? Like, well, this is an airport rental car, right? And they're like, yeah, no, I get it. But it's a cool day. So just take it. Just take the car. No charge. Unlimited miles, right?
Unlimited
miles.
I'm
like, yeah. And I'm like, when do I have to bring it back? And they're like, well, just whenever you're done talking, bring it back. It's fine. We'll just drop it off. No charge. Just for you. And I'm like, okay, yeah, good. This is in line with the rest of the Merch Madness tour because there had been all kinds of stuff. I got free upgrades on stuff. I got discounted airline flights, all kinds of stuff. When I flew to California, I rented the smallest rental car you can get, the ultra mini compact little mini tiny car, and I drove off in a Cadillac Q, which is like an upgraded tech package on a Cadillac Escalade, right? For the same price, no extra charge. And I'm like,
wow.
All right, well, I love the Merch Madness tour. It's very exciting. So, but anyways, this is just a preamble to the story. So what happened is after Joy's conference, I left in this rental car. And the reason I'm mentioning it is because it was free. It didn't cost me anything. And I'm like, well, I got unlimited miles. I'm going to drive to Florida. Like, heck, why not, right? And so I'm driving by myself, okay? I've never been in all the states that are along the bottom between Texas and Florida. There's a bunch of them. And I'm like, I'll just go on a road trip by myself. Like, who needs to sleep or anything? I'll just drive to Florida. I have no idea how far it is. I'm like, whatever. It's free free driving. I'll just pay for gas, right? So I'm driving along, and I think so next to Texas, I think is it Louisiana next, right? So I'm driving through Louisiana. I'm just kind of taking pictures, totally touristing out, right? And taking pictures of all the state signs when you enter them. And then from Louisiana, I drove right through it. And so then I went into Mississippi, right?
Yeah.
Next to Louisiana. So I drove into Mississippi, and there's another print-on-demand seller that lives there. And I'm like, well, I know he lives in Mississippi. It's not a huge state. There's only a few large cities, you know. So I'm texting him like, hey, I'm in town. Let's hang out. He's like, sure, why not? Come over to my house. You've been driving all day from Texas, which doesn't make any sense, but you're here, so let's hang out, right? So I went to this guy's house, and I slept over like on his couch in his house with his family. And we went out for dinner. We talked about print on demand. So as you know, I love print on demand. And we went to the beach, which was right, I guess it would be the Gulf Coast at that point in Mississippi.
Yeah.
And then I realized the distance between where I was and where I needed to be was greater than the amount of time that I had to get to the event, which was like in South Florida, right? It was in Miami. And I'm like, I don't mind driving to Miami, but I've been driving for a day.
Alabama, the entire panhandle, and then all the way down to South Florida.
Exactly. And so this occurred to me like mid-trip, right? And I'm still in the rental car, so it's not even my car. And it's, you know, unlimited kilometers, so it's no problem. The distance is not the problem. The problem is the time. I had to be there for a scheduled event, right? It was a Wizards of Amazon meetup.
Yeah, Carlos's event. Yeah.
Is that the largest meetup group for online sellers now in the world, or just in the US?
Yeah. Carlos built up the largest meetup, Amazon-focused meetup, Amazon seller-focused meetup in the world.
Yeah. So that's quite something. Like and you're in the area, right? So you can go to this anytime.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. I'm in the area, but he does a lot of online events now too.
Yeah. And that's the Wizards of Amazon with Carlos.
Yeah. Okay,
so getting back to the story, I realized I don't have enough time to drive myself all the way to Miami because there's more states, there's a lot of roads, the traffic. You don't count for traffic when you're not planning ahead like that. I had planned to fly over, but then I'm like, well, I got this unlimited car for free. What if I just drive it, right? And then it occurred to me, like, they want me to drop this off back at the airport, which is the other direction. That's going to take way too long, and it defeats the whole purpose of, like, road trip. So I'll drop it off at a different rental location, right? But they're not so familiar with, like, here's the free rental car. And then they're like, well, you dropped it off at another location. There's a fee for that, right? So you got to pay for, like, dropping it off somewhere else if you take it on a big trip, which I had done, right? And so I went to this like tiny airport in the middle of nowhere in Mississippi, and I flew from there into Miami. And my plan was I was going to arrive.
You just bought a round trip ticket from the small airport to Miami, and then you were going to go back to the airport to go get the car?
That would have been a good idea. No, because I had to go and speak in New Jersey after Miami. Right. Oh. And I had to pick up my family because they were coming with me. So I was speaking at the ACE conference. So I mean, you're familiar with Sam Cohen, right?
Yeah.
So Sam Cohen from ACE was having a conference in New Jersey right after I spoke in Miami. So I spoke in Houston in Texas. Then I drove across and met with like some print on demand people. And then I flew into Miami, spoke there. And then I flew from Miami to Ottawa, picked up my family, drove to New York City, met with people there, and then I spoke at the ACE conference like the next day. So it was really packed.
And
like,
you still have the car. You still have the car in your name sitting at the airport, or you returned it in Mississippi?
Oh, I returned it. They had like a location.
Okay. I thought the story was going to go that after all of this other stuff you did, you flew back to the airport and got the car, and then drove it back to Houston.
Well, the punchline is I now own the car.
Yeah, the punchline is I can have it for
as long as I wanted.
As long as you wanted, with unlimited miles.
Kilometers. I just have a car sitting
2 years
at some Mississippi airport somewhere. I just never return it. Why not? The contract says
later,
no
I still have the car. That's the story.
No, that is not the punchline. I did drop it off at a car rental place at the airport. Anyways, funny. It gets crazier. So I had mentioned I was almost incoherent. So normally, like, if you're going to speak in front of a large crowd of people, it's a good idea to be awake and also to know what you're doing and where you are. And, you know, some basic skills like, what is this? Who am I talking to? What am I talking about? Like, what time zone am I in? That kind of thing, right? And what happened was I flew into Miami, and the plan was I got an Airbnb because I was super cheap. Okay, so I'm like, I'll just stay in the Airbnb. I'll figure it out. I'll get to the event. I'll talk. No problem. I'll spend the night. I'll fly out early in the morning, and I'll be back in time to pick up my family and drive to the ACE conference that I was speaking at, right? And what happened was the Airbnb, fine, no problem. I booked it on the app. I booked the Airbnb, right? I took like a taxi. I think I took a taxi to the Airbnb location. I got all my luggage and stuff. They dropped me off. And you know, Miami's got like these huge condominium apartments, right? They're just like I come from in the middle of nowhere, an hour from Ottawa. And the tallest building here, I don't know, Terry, what would be the tallest building? Our neighbor, right?
Our neighbor. So
our neighbor has like a 3-4 story house, which is actually a pretty big house. But that's the tallest building around for a long time. And so in Miami, tall buildings compared to where I am, right? And, you know, it's not just a tall building. There's also like these gated private communities, right? So, you know, you've got like a valet parking to get in or whatever. And there's like roundabouts and water fountains. And you're like, I don't know if this is a hotel or is it a condominium? Do people live here? Is this a business? Like, I don't even know, right? But there's this giant buildings full of places where I'm assuming people live there. And one of them is in the Airbnb that I have, right? And it's like restricted controlled access. There's like somebody behind the desk that allows you to access the phones. I mean, it's like super controlled, right? And at this point, I hadn't used Airbnb very much before. And this is my first time doing one by myself. And so I had just gotten dropped off. And I'm kind of like already pretty tired because I've been driving all day after speaking at the conference and staying up for most of the time there. And I'm like, so how do I get into this? Like, how do I get to the floor where the room is? I know where it is. Like, I've got the address. It's way up in this huge condo in Miami. And the Airbnb person's not getting back to me. And I'm like, shit, like, it's there. I paid for it.
So you didn't know the instructions were probably in the confirmation email or something like that.
No, they were, but I had to get to the room in order to do the deet, right? In order to access the room. So and it was like, there was like security guards and stuff, and it was super private. I don't know if it was like, I don't know. If I get you the address someday, you'd be like, Jacob, whoa, I can't believe you were in this place. Because water runs out front, the security guards, and nobody spoke English, right? I'm like, I'm in Miami. This is in Florida. Florida's in the U.S. I am expecting English-speaking people. I'm telling you, people were speaking everything but English.
Funny. Yeah. That's funny that you thought anyone speaks English in Miami. I mean, that's...
I was lost, right? And I keep in mind,
I can tell you that, late, right? Yeah, I live in Miami and drive to Broward. Broward is the United States. Once you go south of Broward, it is Cuba North or South America North. It is no longer the United States. You need your passport.
Yeah. What? So people are speaking Spanish. People are speaking Russian. Yeah. People are speaking like languages I didn't know. And I'm like, I'm lost. Right, I'm gonna die. Like I felt like I was in
danger.
No, I felt like I was in like the hornet's nest of the cartel or something. Like, it was so weird. Anyways, so I'm texting the Airbnb host, right? I'm like, so I've arrived. I'd like to check into the room. Like, how do we do this, right? The guy's not getting back to me. Eventually, 4 hours later, okay, so I'm sitting there at the doorstep of this place where nobody speaks English and it's all controlled access. There's like people with security and everything, right? And like amazing cars, right? Super high end, very expensive, you know, $200,000 plus cars driving in and out of the waterfall area of the roundabout parking, valet pickup service. It's just like, do people really live in this building, or is this like did I get scammed? Right? 4 hours later, right? Buddy texts me back, right? Sends me the message, instant message too, right? Very convenient. And he's like, oh, sorry, I'm in Russia right now, and I was flying on the airplane, and I had no access to data. So yeah, here's the number. Just enjoy the Airbnb. Sorry about the inconvenience. I'm like, dude, I'm like dying because it's hot too, right? It's like, this is the southern United States, but Miami's in the south part of Florida, and it's really hot and humid. So I'm like wilting in the heat, in the sun, right? Trying to get into the building. And eventually I got in. I had like, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 minutes to drop my bags off, and then somebody's picking me up to go speak. And I'm like,
oh my gosh.
I haven't eaten anything. I haven't drank anything. I've been standing out in the humid sun of Miami for like 4 hours trying to find somebody that speaks English because I don't even know if I'm at the right place or not. And then I get this text from a guy who's like flying around in airplanes in Russia that owns the Airbnb, which totally makes sense because people were speaking. There's a lot of Russian in this building, right? And
You're probably in Sunny Isles. You were in northern Miami if it's all Russian. Yeah,
maybe. It was really weird. Anyways, somebody came and picked me up, right? And the guy was like super cool. He was part of the Wizards of Amazon. You would probably know him. I talked to him for half an hour, right? But on the way to go speak, he's like, "Dude, are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not okay. I'm tired. I'm thirsty. I'm like literally wilted. Like if I was a plant, I'd been dead. But luckily I'm a human. I made it through the 4 hours in the sun. And I was wearing the same clothes that I left from wherever I left in an airport near Mississippi.
My gosh. You didn't even get to like shower and change when you drop your bags off?
I had no time. So he's like, "Dude, just come to my house. Just do something, right? Let's figure this out." So I go to this guy's house. He drops me off. He had to pick up something on the way to the event, right? Where I'm supposed to speak in front of a bunch of people. You were there. So there was a lot of people there. It's a large group. When they say it's the largest meetup group in the US for online sellers, they're not kidding. There's a lot of people. And they show up and they listen and they're all like taking notes. They're like, "Okay, well, Jacob's supposed to be some expert, but like he looks like he's drunk or something. I don't know. He's like half dead." Anyways, on the way to the event to speak, I'm like, "Dude, I also need to go to the washroom." He's like, "Yeah, just use the washroom." So go to the washroom. I'm like, well, now that I'm here, I noticed there's a shower. I'm just going to 5-minute shower time, right? So I like hop in the shower. I wash off so I don't smell bad. Because I've been traveling forever and standing outside trying to like get into my room. And then just before we leave, I'm thinking like, I really haven't eaten anything in probably 20 hours. And I haven't had anything to drink at all. Like no water, nothing. I was like parched, right? I could hardly talk. And I'm supposed to speak in front of you guys. So I'm like, "Are you okay if I eat something from your kitchen?" And he's like, "Sure." And I'm like, "Okay." So I walk in the kitchen. I couldn't find anything. There was a piece of ginger on the counter. I'm like, "Shoot, I need something." So I picked up like a ginger root, the root of the ginger plant, and I just ate the whole thing raw. And then I, cup. You know how you cup your hands in the water? Because we didn't have time. So I just cut my hands. I had a little bit of water before I came. And then when I arrived, people are like, "Oh, hey, how's it going? Anything can we get for you? You're about to speak. You're going to be on in like 10 minutes. Everybody's ready. Or, like, here's a place to plug in your laptop." And I'm like, "Dude, just can you do you remember their pizza arrived?"
Yeah.
It was so weird. I remember there was pizza, right? And so I'm like, "Dude, I'm so hungry. I haven't eaten in probably like more than a day." Okay. And I've been active and outdoors exposed to the light. So can you just order me like a pizza or something? And I don't care when it gets here, but as soon as it gets here, I need to eat like immediately. Like my blood sugar was at, I don't know. I didn't measure it. No idea. It was gone. So that's the circumstance in which we met the second time. And the first time we saw each other, but we didn't talk.
Yeah.
That I recall. I don't remember talking with you in Houston.
No, we didn't really get a chance. I mean, it was at the after party. I came a little bit later. There was a giant table. Everyone was drinking and eating. And I just drove by and got a chance to say hi to people and then had to leave. So yeah, it's but we're gonna finally hang out and have a proper conversation in Prosper.
That's true. Also, we got totally sidetracked. This was supposed to be the introduction. Like, "Hey guys, here's Brandon Young. If you're watching live and you don't know him, introduce yourself. And I'm Jacob. A lot of people don't know me. I'm from Canada, as you can see in the little name thing there. But Brandon, can you introduce yourself? Because I just totally got sidetracked with that story. It was a really important event in my life. And so can you introduce yourself to people, let them know about yourself, about Seller Systems? I'm going to give you the whole screen. And while you're there, I'm going to share this in the Facebook groups because I shared the pre-stream, but once it starts streaming, if you share it, it gives you a live preview. And it's more exciting that way.
All right.
So it's going to take like 3 minutes to do that maybe. And so can you just tell people about you and don't hold back. Be like, "I'm Brandon Young. Here's what you need to know." The Coles notes, the summary, the story of how did you become Brandon Young? What is Seller Systems? Whatever you want to talk about. So I'm going to give you the whole screen. I'll be right back. I'm still here. I'm not going to leave, but I'm going to give you the screen. So you're talking live to all the people. And there's comments. So anybody, you can comment to Brandon live. I promise you. Go for it.
Sounds good.
Here's Brandon Young.
So I've been selling on Amazon for a little over 6 years. My wife and I started off with wholesale and liquidation, and actually, We were buying return pallets of cell phone accessories from T-Mobile and Verizon. We were doing wholesale tools. And about a year of doing that, we decided to get into Amazon private label. She's from China. And so we thought it would be a good idea to travel to China and try to find some relationships with some factories. We figured, hey, we got an advantage over American sellers because you're Chinese, and we got an advantage over Chinese sellers because I can write good English. I can do good English. And so we ended up launching our first few products in 2016 now, and now we're 100% private label. We're going to do a little over 15 million this year. Maybe a little bit less now. We're actually downsizing because of some inventory restriction limits that everyone's
stop there. Hold on, Brandon. 15 million. What are we talking, like US dollars?
Yeah, US. Canadian would only be like $1 million, right?
No, in Canadian it would be like, I don't know.
I know. I'm teasing.
It would be crazy. So, but that's a lot of money. Like the $15 million is an enormous amount of money.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do really well. We figured it out quite a bit. We put together some processes for product research, keyword research, data analysis. So our success rate with choosing products is really high. We make money on 75% of the products we choose. We keep about 50%, and so we just go fast. We launch a lot of products. We find a lot of products, and so that's what I teach. About 3 years ago now, I started teaching just with some master classes about product selection and how we look at the data. And that grew into a full-fledged course called Seller Systems, where we take you through the whole process of finding products, validating them with the data, how to really look and understand what the opportunity and the risk is behind a product based on how good the competition is, what the keyword research looks like. For example, if someone's trying to sell anything on Amazon, there's many different ways people usually search for it. And each of those different ways that people search for it have different keyword search volume. And so we can look at all the best sellers and see if they're ranked for all of the different keywords that can drive sales for that product. And for the majority of products on Amazon, you'd be surprised, most people are not good at Amazon. So most of the products have many keywords that are not represented well by the current sellers. So the way we look at keywords is demand, and the way we look at the current sellers is supply. And so if the current sellers are not meeting the demand, then we can do a better job. Then we choose to do that product. We optimize it. We go and source it. We put our label on it, and then we launch it. And so it's all a data-based approach, which seems to resonate really well and provide a really high level of success for myself and my students. And so we've been doing that for a few years. Now we've grown to, I've had over 3,000 students take either a masterclass, a free course, or my full course. I've got over 800 students in my my Inner Circle Mastermind, which is basically, if you join the free course, you get the mastermind for free for a year. And that includes weekly calls with me to ask any questions. And it includes a bunch of live content, like we do classes a few times a month. And that's all from being on podcasts, talking to friends, being at events, word of mouth, a lot of referrals. It's been really great for us. So coaching is one of the things that I really love to do.
Quick question.
Yeah.
How long did that take for you to go from, gee, I seem to be having like a way above average success rate selling on Amazon to, everybody's asking me how I'm doing this. I might as well make this into a mastermind and or a course and or free training. Like there's a gap there, right? Between like I'm doing this to everybody wants to know how I'm doing this to
I would say
I'll show you how to do this, right?
Yeah, I would say our second year we did about 3 million. And we were doing really well. We had at that time maybe 3 different brands, and it was great because I'm working closely with my wife. Like I was handling launches and marketing for most of that time, and even until now, like I'm getting back involved with that to rewrite some processes and really look at it. For the last year or so, my team has really taken over most of the business, with my wife running the brands, and then with me running the coaching, or focusing on coaching. So, but yeah, there was a gap of a couple of years where we were trying to figure it out ourselves, because for the first year we did $1 million, but we didn't make any money. Like it was at like, out of the $1 million, we netted maybe 50,000, and then, but the balance sheet was still flat because we spent 50,000. So we didn't really make any money. And then, you know, it was because a lot of the content that was out there wasn't very good. It was from fake gurus. And so that really bothered me. And then when I was telling my friends, hey, you guys should start doing this Amazon thing, it's actually pretty good and easy and scalable because of FBA. And once you get a private label product ranked and you know how to just stay on top of it and optimize it, keep inventory in stock, it's very low maintenance. So you can move on and just launch more products. So you can really scale up very quickly. Whereas like arbitrage and maybe, you know, some other business models, like if you're not shopping and working every day, you're not going to make money. So that's why we like really went in that direction pretty hard.
That's a phenomenal story. You've had a lot of success very quickly, and you make the choice to help others as well with that, which is commendable, right? Because you could have just said, oh no, we're making like millions of dollars, we'll just do this ourselves, you know. And there are something that amazes me about Amazon sellers. There's so many people that are selling on Amazon, not just Amazon, other platforms, right? People are selling on Walmart, people are selling on Etsy, people are selling on eBay, people are selling on not just platforms that we're familiar with, let's say in North America, but people are selling millions of dollars worth of goods on like Tesco and JD and Tmall and Rakuten and platforms that we've never heard of, right? And one of the things that's neat about it is you will have some sellers, when they have that kind of success, right? When they start selling a lot, like when they go from maybe 10,000 to 100,000 to 1 million, now they're talking multiples of volume. Some of them would just want to tell everybody, and others kind of shy away. They're like, oh, you know what? I don't want anybody to know that I'm doing like $100 million in sales, right? I would rather just not talk about that, right? And others are like, well, yeah, no, I'm selling like 20,000. Let me tell every single person on the planet how much I'm selling. And maybe they're losing money, right? Here's a tip, okay? If you're new to Amazon and somebody tells you they're doing $150,000 a year selling on Amazon, that doesn't mean they're making many money. They could be losing money and selling lots and lots of product, right?
Yeah.
So it's something to watch out for when you're talking to somebody and they tell you there's how much they're selling. First of all, why are they telling you? But it's kind of weird. And secondly, maybe push them a little bit and say, okay, cool. So you sold 150,000. Did you make any money? How does that work? Tell me about it, right? The other thing is there are so many ways and angles and paths with sales online. Even if you only limit it just to Amazon. So within Amazon, there's all these different things, right? There's the private label where you bring a product onto Amazon. There's the wholesale, right? Partnering with these huge brands. And typically that's a good play to maybe invest dollars because you sink in the money and then it grows, right? There are products like your mule mug there, custom made products, customization. So yeah, Amazon custom.
Shout out to Megla for my beautiful mug that she got me. I appreciate it. Hopefully she's watching.
And Megla should be watching because she also did a live stream with me. I don't know if you caught it, but we did I've been doing live streams every single day this week, right? So we did a live stream with different people. And Megla is one of the people. She was talking about sourcing from India.
Yes.
And we're going to get into that because there's ways to source. But just getting back to like the massive number of different ways that you could approach selling, even just with Amazon, whether it's handmade, whether it's custom items, private label items, you can buy stuff from other places and resell them. You can like find things and just put them up for sale. So for your business, I'm going to guess based on the numbers you're saying that you probably, and I could be totally wrong because we haven't had this conversation before, but you're probably, I'm going to guess you were doing private label, right? You're creating and listing and launching products. Am I right on that, or am I?
Yeah, it's 100% private label now. Yeah.
Yeah, and so one of the things that I've observed over the years, and when you get to know me well, you'll realize that I'm just a big analyst. I just analyze everything nonstop. Like right now, I'm thinking a million thoughts, and only some of them are coming out of my mouth. The other ones, they're processing in the background, right? So with private label, it gives you the ability to build a structure and scale one product. But once you have the system down, you can use the same type of process to bring on other products and kind of replicate, right? So it gives you that scalability. And if you choose to, or if you want to, if you have a private label, something, that product you've brought to the marketplaces of the world, you can sell them too, right? So some people will build a company to sell. So let me ask you this, because I'm really interested in about Seller Systems. And I'm not just saying this because I know that it's you're Seller Systems, but like, how does Seller Systems as a system deal with the variety of ways that people can use selling online? So whether it's Amazon or other platforms, like, how do you deal with that sort of variety of approaches?
Yeah, so it's really something where I try to encourage my students to build a foundation built on Amazon private label. So leverage FBA, leverage the audience that Amazon has, because we understand the data there. We understand the keywords and the search volume behind the keywords. We understand how to optimize. We understand Amazon's ranking algorithm, so we can rank for hundreds of keywords to the top of, top 10 of hundreds of keywords within a week of launch. And so, when you have that type of ability to do the research, pick the products that you can do better than the current people selling them, and then how to optimize and create a good listing, leverage that, and then use that foundation of products and a brand building to then start worrying about things like direct to consumer with Shopify, Walmart.com, maybe even specialty stores and retail and wholesale. Like, you've got so many other platforms. We think that, like, the progression of different levels of your business as a solopreneur is like, you're limited by your capital and you're limited by your time. So for us, it's always leverage your time for the best ROI possible. And every time you spend doing something else that isn't Amazon private label, it's costing you money, because the highest ROI is on Amazon for FBA, without a doubt. There's nothing higher as far as ROI. And there are people that have success in other platforms, but it's a limited amount of success, and it's predicated on being able to repeat processes that aren't necessarily repeatable, like cost of acquisition of a client when you're driving people to your own Shopify store, right? Like, that cost per click is going to go up over time as more people advertise to those audiences. You're not going to be able to continuously grab that same amount of traction over and over again and make it repeatable and scalable, to the extent that you can probably just make the same listing on Amazon, leverage it properly, optimize it properly, do really great images and content, and then rank it for many keywords, and then start making a profit very quickly that is more on like an organic basis, so that the profit is higher, and that doesn't require the same amount of repeating of driving outside traffic. So
I've come to a conclusion.
Yeah,
you're a strategist. You think about what is the ultimate path, and then what are the effects of the actions that I take upon that ultimate path, based on what you're telling me right now. Like, again, we haven't had this conversation, so I'm just kind of getting to know you, right? So based on what you're saying, if there are systems in place that are proven to be effective, then it doesn't really matter who's operating that system or what the product specifically is. If you follow the rules of the system, you will find that philosophically it will lead you in the right direction, right? Would you say that's true?
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly right. So look, we let the data speak for us, and everyone else should. So we give the parameters. We have like inner circle only templates that are given to the members to speed up the process. Like, I have master classes where I teach you how to create what we call a master keyword list. That master keyword list looks at the top 10 sellers, looks at all the keywords that could potentially drive sales for a product, the relevancy of each keyword, the search volume of each keyword, and it gives a score to each competitor of how good they are at Amazon, based on the amount of potential search volume of the product and how much of that search volume these competitors are ranked well for. And
is that custom software you're using, or is that like
we're using Helium 10 for the data. We're using Helium 10 for the data, but we're pulling it and manipulating it. And then, but we have custom software within Amazon or within the inner circle that does all of that for you in a couple clicks, versus spending an hour and a half to analyze each product, right? So
you can stack time that way. Here's a general tip, okay? Because there's the people that this is currently streaming to, it's about 35,000 online sellers. Of that, about 20,000 of them are specialized in print on demand, but they sell across marketplaces. So Like they get it. You can make a listing, you can make sales online, but they may not fully appreciate the advantages of a physical product. They may or they might not. And a lot of the people in print on demand came from that world. So it's interesting. The other portion, which is not quite as large, but almost as large, is about 14,000 members of another group. And they are primarily Amazon FBA sellers, which is exactly in the crosshair of what seller systems can provide in terms of like saving them time, giving them the knowledge they need, creating standard operating procedures that they can really just apply to their business. And what you're saying is there are softwares available, both third party, something like Helium 10, which can enable them to stack time or to save time, but also custom software. So in your mastermind, you've got like custom special software that just speeds stuff up. And the reason I bring it up is they may or may not have come to the realization that the opportunity is there, right? Like everybody knows a lot of people shop on Amazon. And so somebody is selling those lot of people a lot of things, like a tremendous amount of things, right? And those people have the option to buy stuff elsewhere. So like the opportunity is not really the hard part. But what they might not have realized yet, especially if they're a brand new seller, or even if they've done it for a little while, they haven't really sat down and just like logically, calmly thought about it, is this. The quicker that you can leverage whatever you're doing to build wealth within your business, it's about the time it takes to build something, right? So if it takes you like 10 years to generate $1,000, it's probably not worth your time. But if it takes you 10 seconds to generate $10,000 or $1,000, it might be worth your time. It probably is, right? I don't know a lot of people that would say no to $1,000 per second type of activity, right? And so by using software, it saves you time, which enables you to build wealth more quickly. Simultaneous to that, it frees up your time to do other things. So whether that's put towards accelerating other parts of your business, or free time, or just freedom with your family, or, you know, sitting and staring at the wall and just kind of zoning out for mental health, or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. If you can save time doing the things that build wealth for your company, it frees up time to do other things, which could include building your company more or in other areas, right? Sorry, 100%. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I really appreciate the software can help save people time.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's like what you're saying is absolutely true for everything, which is a lot of people don't often think about their time. For example, like I know a lot of people that will, when they first create a brand, they'll spend dozens, if not hundreds of hours building up a following on Instagram, which drives very little revenue, right? Or profit even. Yeah. And it's like they chalk it up to the brand building of what they're doing. But the reality is you're not capturing any audiences that you have a lifelong value of through Instagram, right? You can make a post, you can get some engagement, but that engagement doesn't lead to sales, and it doesn't lead to your ability to actually have a conversation or drive that person to really do anything for you. Whereas if you drive them to a landing page that has a chatbot on it where you interact with them, and then you have them spin a prize wheel and get a random coupon and go to Amazon and add a product to cart and potentially buy it, and you can text, and they had to fill out their cell phone number so you could text them, and then you have their email so you can re-engage them and bring them back to your website and chat with them again. That's a real activity that drives real value and can help you launch products in the future. And the more that you have of those types of people, the larger your company can grow and the faster it can grow. That's a real activity. So it's tough for people to distinguish between the two, but you don't need that in the beginning, right? You're launching one or two products. You can rely 100% on traffic that you're driving directly from Google or from Facebook or pay-per-click ads. And if you know how to properly launch a product and optimize it and rank it well, and for which keywords to rank it and follow the data type of approach, then you can have a lot of success very quickly with a stable amount of revenue and cash flow coming in that can help you to grow. And it's more of like stacking that asset of cash flow so that you can leverage that cash flow to then grow a real brand and exit it. Now, the interesting part that you're talking about is like, there's a lot of books that talk about this that are very important from a business perspective, which is to go from 0 to 1 before you try to go from 0 to 100. And so you can, the process is to learn the fundamentals and the systems and the processes to go from 0 to 1. How do I do the research? How do I find a product? How do I source it? How do I customize it? How do I ship it here? How do I get the right content together? How do I then launch it and do the marketing behind it, and then optimize the PPC behind it, and do the PPC to begin with, and then optimize? All of those things are like a college degree.
Yeah.
That 0 to 1 is really, really hard. Focus on all of that with 1 or 2 products, go through those steep learning curves, and then you can figure out how to automate some of these processes, build a team behind you to go from 1 to 100, or you don't. The other option, which is extremely interesting that you were maybe talking about, is like, you can then turn around, drive a business in that 0 to 1 to $1 million to $3 million in revenue pretty quickly and pretty easily now.
Yeah.
5, 10, 15, 20 SKUs, you can get to $1 million plus in revenue pretty fast, maybe within a year to 2 years. Now, then at that point, to go from 2 to 10 million, you're going to need to build a real business. And a lot of people don't know how to do that. They don't have the capabilities, the knowledge, the know-how, the capital. They don't want to do it. So what you can do now is you can sell your business to any one of 100 different companies buying it. Like Thrasio is the biggest, the best, one of the best in the industry at taking the business and running it and then taking it to 100. And that's why they are $1 billion company, one of the fastest company in American history to go to $1 billion valuation profitably. That's an amazing feat. And what they do is they buy Amazon businesses and then take them to the next level. So it's an amazing thing. Like you don't need to go to that next level that we're going to, and that we're going to, which is like, to 30, 50, 100 million. It's because it takes a large team to do that. But you can turn around and then sell that business for 5 times what your earnings are, right? So if let's say you drive a business to $1 million in revenue in 18 months on 5 good products, you've launched 10, you're kept 5, and now let's say you're averaging about 15%, only 15% net profit, like net margin, because shipping is expensive. You have all these other expenses. So you're making $150,000 a year on that $1 million profit. Yeah. You can turn around and sell it for 5 times that multiple. For $750,000, you can get a check handed to you pretty easily at this point. And you did all of that. You went from 0 to a $750,000 check in your hand in like 18 months. And then you can turn around and do it again.
So Brandon, if somebody's never thought of this before, you're blowing minds right now. People are falling off the edge of their seats going, wait. I've been doing this for like 3 years, and I'm only making $100,000 a year. And then Jacob brings on this guest, and he's Brandon. It was like, I don't even know this guy. I've never seen him before. And he's telling me I can build a business to $1 million. No problem. Millions are fine. But then sell it for $5 million. So like $5 million is now achievable because, hey, there's people wanting to buy your $1 million business, right?
Yeah, so it's based on the multiple of the profit. So like it's not on the revenue. But yeah,
when you sell it, you get a portion of that will be hopefully profitable, right? On the sale.
Yeah. If you're doing $1 million in revenue, you should be doing 15 to 20% profit, like minimum, right? Like that 15 would be on the low end. As you scale your business, a lot of people don't understand your costs go up. You have a lot more overhead. You have more expenses. You probably have to expand into, quite a few other areas, like maybe even opening your own warehouse, which you don't need to do, but it can save you some money, so you might do it. But like we've gone to 25 employees, 12 to 25 employees in the last 9 months, and so our expenses have gone up quite a bit. We have these extra costs with shipping through a 3PL now because we have limits at Amazon, which really upsets me. But so our costs have gone up there too. So now we're running at like 15% instead of 18 or 20% like we were 6 or 9 months ago. But ultimately, like you take that profit and you can sell it for a multiple of that profit, and then you can turn around and do it again if that's what you want to do, or you can go from 1 million to 5 million yourself.
That's 100% correct.
But you can't sell. The issue is that you can't sell an arbitrage business for the same multiple, because that's called a key man issue, and it's not as repeatable. Like you can't guarantee, you're only as good as your last deal in arbitrage, your last find, right? The last thing you scanned.
Well, it depends on how they built it, right? So this is something that I've seen in my FBA Amazon group, because with Amazon FBA, you can really have all these players all together. They're all simultaneously doing their own thing. Some of them talk to each other, some of them don't. Some of them are small groups, large groups, masterminds. There's like a lot of intermingling. Some people connect with other people privately. Some people go to conferences and meet other people and network that way. There's all kinds of different things happening. And something that I've noticed is if somebody's brand new to Amazon and they're not connecting to Amazon through somebody like yourself or through a course or through I'm going to say an experienced and logical guide, somebody that really is just saying like, you really have to do the work and here are the things that are going to move the needle the most, versus anybody can do this, just come on in and see what happens, right? So what I find is some of those new sellers that come in on the other side, where they just they find out that you can make money from home or that you can sell stuff on the internet, they'll come in and they'll start with maybe like retail arbitrage, right? And they'll be like, oh, well, I could find it at the store and then I could resell it. But then they quickly realize that doesn't scale so well unless you build a team and or have like a warehouse, right? And so maybe they'll move on to online arbitrage. They'll be like, well, I don't need a warehouse because I can now make larger orders and I can use the internet and just ship it to a third-party warehouse, and then they can ship it into Amazon FBA as needed. And so it's a little bit more scalable, but there's still, like you said, it's a key man problem where who's finding those deals, right? They have virtual assistants? Are they build a team that's helping them to do that or not, right? What happens if the source of all your goods that you're primarily relying on falters or changes or closes maybe some of those pricing loopholes? You constantly have to be finding a deal in order to make something. So private label then kind of solves that problem, right? It allows you to have tons of scale, but there's a lot of work in private label up front, right? So you have to source the product, right? You have to compete against somebody else. You have to protect your listings. You have to hold the buy box. You have to import stuff. You have to build a brand around it. You've got to protect, build your packaging if it's truly private label, right? Often you got to do intellectual property protection. You got to trademarks. You maybe copyright the material, right? And then what about marketing and how do you drive traffic and then PPC and it? Like it's really a lot of stuff, right? So
yeah, it's really hard. I don't recommend anyone coming into the business thinking it's not hard. Like all of those things you said plus more, and you have to learn them really, really well, and be good at them. And if you make
mistakes, it can destroy your whole business, right?
Yeah, you could. And not only that, people have zero patience, right? Like they want the instant gratification, they want the quick buck, they want to turn around, and they don't have the patience to build a business, a proper business in that sense, where like you can go to the store, scan some things, find out you can make 20 or 30% on it, send it in, and within a couple weeks you get your money back plus that return. Whereas if I start doing research on a product today and then I find one that looks good, I order samples, I order my competitors' products, I make some changes to the samples, and then I customize the packaging, I place the order, I get it sent in. I'm looking at 3 months minimum before that product arrives at Amazon and is selling. And then it's probably a month to launch and optimize it before it's making a profit. And then it's a little bit of time to get that initial capital back. I've got another order to get in. I want to make sure I don't run out of stock. I've got PPC to optimize. I've got outside traffic I'm probably optimizing. You've got tons of compliance issues with Amazon with what you write on your packaging, your insert cards, and designing that. So yeah, it's not the quick game, but it's the long game. And so some people just don't have the patience to do it, or the capital to even start, right? Like I wouldn't start Amazon private label without $5,000 to $10,000. You're not going to be able to go to find a product, order 100 units and make it your own and sell it at a profit, and then do it again. You're just, you're digging a hole that you're not going to be able to get out of. So yeah, it's not for everybody, and it's hard and it takes longer.
Okay, now I wanna pivot a little bit, but I still want to continue on with this progression and you may say the same thing, you may see something different, and we might totally disagree or we might totally agree. I don't know. But I see people that come in on retail arbitrage, maybe they move to online arbitrage, then they make an attempt at private label, right? Some of them work it out and some of them don't work it out. It depends on the person, it depends on the business, the team, depends who they network with. I'm not to say network, but like who do they rely on for help? Because it's difficult to just take it all on and not rely on others for help. Other people know more than you do. Other people know more than I do. Other people know more than other people do, right? So you can't maximize your growth and success in online selling without interacting at some level with other people. I think that's a true case. So let's say they try private label, right? And it works, they're probably going to go with private label. If it doesn't work or they're not sure and they're still kind of in that progression, right? Then I see them maybe I'll try wholesale because it's kind of like private label. I don't have to worry about all the product stuff. I just have to like secure a path to get the product there. But then they find out the returns suck because other people are doing wholesale too, and they really want to squeeze, like competition squeezes that return potential out, right? And then you also have the problems of what happens when other people try to source the thing, and you get exclusivity agreements or not, and you have sourcing things, and you have, what is the origin of the product, and there's map pricing, and there's all kinds of other things that play into it. Plus, it's not so easy just to call up like Procter & Gamble and say, hey, you know what? I just want to be the exclusive seller on Tide. All right, Tide laundry detergent, that's just me. Well, let's do that, right? That doesn't work that way. There's more to it. So I totally agree with you. There are routes to do things as an online seller. Some of them are fast and may give you instant gratification. Some of them take longer, but you'll find that the rewards can often be a lot better. So here's a question for you. What do you think about sort of those in-between intermediary, sort of almost fringy things like white labeling products, right? Taking a product that exists already and making it your own, but it's not 100% your own. It's kind of pre-made, but kind of your own. And then I also wanted to hear your thoughts on virtual products. So what do you think, just you personally, like it doesn't, whether or not this fits into your systems or not, I don't know. But what are your thoughts on virtual products or things like printables or using artificial intelligence to create unique products on the fly? I'm sure you've thought about this at some point and talked with people. You've got tons of connections across all kinds of platforms. So like, what are your thoughts on those two things, the white label and the virtual or sort of on-demand type of products?
Yeah, I mean, when you're first starting out, you don't have the money or the time, necessarily the expertise to start making custom molds and designs on products. It's when you're talking about, so you're going to be dealing with factories that already have designs that they've created, that they have their own engineers. Now, the goal is to try to get an exclusive with the factory if they own that design. But you have to be doing some serious volume and have a good relationship with them to get to that point. If you prove that you're good at Amazon and you can become a market leader or a bestseller and then leverage that and those future orders, then you can start working into a relationship with the factory to get an exclusive design or exclusive custom mold and stuff like that. So for the most part, yeah, look at what is selling on Amazon, figure out what are the designs that are kind of selling the best. If there aren't 10, 15 people selling the same exact design, coming in and doing a much better job than them at ranking for the right keywords, you can still win with that method. That's not something where you always need to customize and have your own molds or designs. As far as virtual products, like, are you talking about like maybe NFTs or something?
No, I'm thinking like there's a whole sort of subculture on Etsy and some of the like eBay, Etsy, platforms like that, sort of not necessarily mainly on Amazon, where there are virtual products, right? So I will sell you a digital file. You will use that for something, right? So I'm going to create designs, and I'll maybe have a team of designer that makes designs, and I'm going to sell it on Etsy, and people will download those designs to use in their products, right? People will download those designs and use them in book creation, for example. People might download those files and use them for stickers or for education or for, as a component to create something else with, right?
Yeah, licensing original work.
It could extend also to not just visual files, but like audio files, right? Mm-hmm. So people sell beats online all the time, and musicians will pick those up and buy them. So in a sense, it is a unique sort of more creative side of things, right? And this could apply and extend over into books as well. So somebody creates a book and they sell it as an ebook, which could also become a physical book, right? Through like KDP or other platforms. So I'm just curious to know what your thoughts were on products that don't necessarily have a physicality to them, right? Like with a physical product, you have to deal with shipping. You have to deal with inventory management. You have to deal with the cost and time to do things. You have to deal with returns. You have to deal with, things like that. With a digital or a non-physical product, like stickers or something, or maybe designs for people that do cross-stitching, or, music that people will use to manufacture other music. So whether it's the background beat or lyrics or songs, or even with like books is a great example a book could be about anything. A book could contain anything. So, like, what are your thoughts on those types of products that don't have that physical aspect?
Yeah, I've used a lot of those, right? Like I use custom designs. I think those are entrepreneurs that are just leveraging their gift or what they're good at and what they're passionate about. These are artists, right? Like whether it's someone that loves to write, someone that is good at drawing and artwork, or someone that's good at making music. I do some of my, like I was learned how to do my own YouTube editing, right? So I have my YouTube page and I put some music behind it, and I leverage someone's sound behind it in my introduction. And that was someone that created a sound, uploaded it to some system where it's now been licensed. And I'm sure they get a few pennies every time it plays, right? So, and I have many designs. Like I do a lot of toys. I do a lot of artwork toys. I do a lot of arts and crafts. In with these toys, even I've leveraged pre-made designs of unicorns and stuff like that someone else did and put on a site that I have licensed so that I can turn around and turn it into a toy. And so, I think that that's great. It's 100% a different business model and relies on the passion. And I don't know how big it can get or how much money you can make. But I think that, I'm always thinking of supply and demand, and I'm always thinking about how to leverage the demand. And it's very tough to measure the demand of random piece of artwork that you create, right? Like if there was a database that had people searching for unicorn artwork, for cartoon artwork, and I knew that was being searched 500,000 times a month on a specific platform, and there were only 100 competitors and most of their unicorns were terrible. Now you're talking about what I do with private label, which is, well, let me go ahead and make a bunch of unicorn artwork that's better and rank it better. And then that way they have a better chance of buying mine. And then I would do that as an artist. But, it's not the same thing.
I'm gonna pause you there because you're asking it like this doesn't exist, right? And from my perspective, I'm like, oh, it does exist and it's very advanced. So
on Etsy, you have search volume, right? Or you have data on Etsy, or
So I mean, obviously, there's the marketplaces, and they have, you can see the traffic sometimes, and where you can see traffic, you can scrape traffic, and where you can scrape traffic, people will build data systems to analyze it, and databases, and business analytics tools, and things like that. But there is custom software. So, for example, for Etsy sellers, there's Etsy Rank, right, which gives you in-depth data about the sellers, what they're selling, how much volume, all that kind of stuff. But from the design side, and this could be a case where maybe we have like an intersection of different industries and we thought about it in a different way. So I know that you know a lot of things that I have no idea about. And there may be the case that I know some things that you don't know about. So with the
100%. The
question of software designs analytics, I mean, there's software like Merchant Former, for example, right? Where you can have an ongoing continuous volume, all of the data on all of the Merch by Amazon designs. It literally captures them and has an archive. So you can go back through time and you can say, hey, 2 years ago on September the 27th, what was the best-selling design and how did it rank and how did that design? And you can follow a particular listing through time and see what happened to it, right? There's things like, I can see you're doing something else on your computer. You're having like a little side chat down the bottom.
Well, what I did is I pulled up the stream so I can reply to comments.
Oh, okay, perfect. That's a good idea. And this is live, by the way, guys. So if you're watching live, please make comments. And in a moment, we're going to show some of the comments, and this will hopefully inspire you to make comments, and then we can talk about them, and you can ask questions and things like that. But there is software. There's Merch Ninja. There is Merchant Former. There are a bunch of software systems in Germany where people are putting together Merch Titan, for example, which is not in any way related to Titans, but Merch Titan is separate software. And they literally have all of the data and analytics, not just on Amazon or Merch by Amazon listings on the design side, but it's also cross-platform, right? So they've got design analytics on which keywords and which things are ranking across multiple marketplaces. So whether it's Amazon or on Etsy or on Redbubble, Zazzle, CreateSpace, all these different print-on-demand things, this software is kind of designed for print-on-demand. But there is a lot of data available around designs. So it'll tell you not only what are the popular categories, what are the popular keywords, what kind of sales volume in terms of numbers are these sellers doing. But you can also slice and dice it by seller, right? So you could say, oh, well, it looks like this person is really focusing on this area and they have a bunch of sales. Maybe I want to target that, right? And so just like there is on Amazon for private label, where you can slice and dice the ASINs and you can see, oh, well, this person also has all these other ASINs in these related categories, and this is the estimated sales volume, and then you can kind of calculate or extrapolate the value on those listings to see if it's maybe worth taking a closer look at. It's really crazy to me that there's so much data, right? And people spend millions of dollars building software to assemble the data so that you can take good actions on it, right? I just think that's kind of neat.
Always. Yeah, I think that's phenomenal. And so, yeah, that's a business model in and of itself, where the thing for me is, okay, so the question I always have to answer when I'm looking at my competitors is I have to know, how are my competitors getting their sales? Not if they're getting their sales. Like, you want to know that they're selling, but how are they getting their sales? So which keywords are they ranked well for, and how are people searching for them? And so which of the how are they getting traffic? Everything is always traffic and conversions, right? So how is the traffic coming into their listing for people to convert and purchase it? And if you can answer the how are my competitors getting their sales with the traffic and conversions, then you can duplicate and or beat it.
So you're ultimately always looking at what is the cause and effect of the listing and the sale, right? So it's one thing to have traffic, but if you're not getting conversions, it's irrelevant. It's another thing to have great conversions, but if you don't have traffic going to it, it's also irrelevant. But when you have lots of traffic and it's converting, now you have sales. Now you're going to take the next step. If you have sales, are they profitable or not? And what's the cost of getting those sales? And how does that factor into the decision making around, should I enter the product? Should I enter the category? Should I compete with it? Should I take it over? Should I buy it, right? Maybe you want to buy your competitors.
100%. Yeah, you nailed it. But the key is to answer all of those questions before you even launch it, right? Before you even source it.
So know before you act.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I'm making these little banners, so I'm trying to summarize what's the big concept, right? Now, I noticed that in the comments, it's getting exciting, and there's a whole sub-conversation. So let's go through some comments from the top. And these are sorted on the system that we're using is StreamYard. It's free, so if you ever want to do a video live like this, you can use StreamYard. It doesn't cost anything. Starts out with Rana Singh. Rana, fellow Canadian in Ontario, same province as me. I'm in Canada. He's in Canada. Brandon, do you have any Canadian connections, first of all?
Yeah, I mean, I know a ton of sellers in Canada. Rana is in my inner circle, for example. He's a friend. Finally met him in Miami last month. Out of Vancouver, I know a few sellers. Tom Wong's out of Vancouver.
Are you Canadian? Are your parents from Canada?
Oh,
No,
not
Canadian. Do you have any personal?
No, not at all. I'm born and raised in South Florida, and my family was born in the United States, New York and New Jersey. And then before that, I'm a mutt. I've got, my background is Italian, German, Hungarian, American Indian, and something else. I've got to do one of those DNA tests. It's probably I'm just a mix. I'm a mutt.
It's good. Okay, so I was just curious. So I always like to see if there's a Canadian connection, because I find it so fascinating to me that there can always be these remote connections.
And Welsh. I have Welsh too.
Perfect. Yeah. You know, I did a post of cheese that was made with Welsh butter just today on Instagram. On
sounds
Facebook.
Delicious. I like butter.
Yeah. Anyways,
Welsh butter.
Welsh cheese. So Rana says, I'd like to see Jacob versus Brandon in the Octagon in Vegas. And you know, Rana, Vegas does have an Octagon, and we will both be in Vegas. So this is not outside of the realm of possible, but it's really close to probably not going to happen. But it could. There is an Octagon. We'll all be in Vegas. You and I will be in Vegas.
There is a range of possibilities. Yeah, and one of them has it.
But possibly unlikely. And it's like that with online selling. You can have a great idea, and it can make money, but how probable is that, right? Unknown. So we also have Padrino. So Padrino says, wow. and this was earlier in the conversation. This was at half an hour ago. So this was probably during our introduction, and maybe he was interested about how did you get free car rental service with unlimited miles? I don't know. We're a bit slow on the comments. So guys, if you're live, you can make comments now, and we're going through all of them. So we will get to your comment. And if you have questions for Brandon or questions for me or questions for each other or questions for other sellers that aren't even here yet, maybe you can ask questions in the comments, and in the replay, somebody will answer your questions. But we'll probably try and get to them while we're talking because it's exciting. And I don't know about you, Brandon. I love talking with people. And simultaneous to that, it drains me. And so I can talk with people, but I cannot talk with people for too long because then I just fall apart. Like I just break down and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love it so much, but also I'm going to fall asleep now. So anyways, Rana says it's called Seller Systems for a reason, which is true. We were talking about seller systems and some of the things you do there. You said, again, Rana Singh, very popular. Most comments per person in the live comments is from Rana. We'll just put that out there. Data. So yes, it's all about the data. We talked about that. Again, Rana says, but the lifestyle guru says it's so easy. And maybe he was talking about like the instant gratification of things that you can do versus following a system and the things that are possible, right?
Yeah, he was saying that about how, Amazon private label is very hard. And it's like a lot of degrees built into one. So yeah, don't think that you can come into Amazon private label without putting in the work, studying, learning it, and learning many different aspects of it and becoming very good at it very easily. So yeah, many of the stylish gurus will tell you 4 hours a week and you can become a billionaire overnight. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. You can be driving a Lambo just like me.
Unlikely, right? The Elon Musks of the world possibly could do it in 4 hours, but extremely unlikely. The most likely scenario is it takes them hundreds of hours a week or 100 hours a week. I know they work hard for the $1 billion. Okay, anyways, then we had Paul Barron. Now, you know Paul Barron, right? And I only recently met him. I would say recently, but it's only in the last few years that I've been introduced to the phenomenon of Paul Barron. And we met in person as well as online. We've had a live stream together. It was very fascinating, actually, at the beginning of COVID.
Paul's awesome.
He says, Rana Singh, it'd be a foot race. So I think what he's talking about is I think he was commenting on this. Rana wants to see you and I in the Octagon in Vegas. And then I'm just interpreting this, but I think Paul is saying it would be a foot race to go and see those two guys in the Octagon. It would be crazy. And Paul has seen us in person, right?
No, so the joke there is that when I got to hang out with Paul last month as well in Miami for the second time. Paul is awesome. But my son was there, and he was talking about my son wanted to race everybody. He's 10 years old, and he just wanted to like, hey, are we going to race? And then it was a joke because we were supposed to play dodgeball, and we were supposed to have some kind of Olympic type games between all of us that were there, and everyone was just too busy getting drunk or hanging out and being lazy. And Paul was super stoked about dodgeball, and I was super stoked about some type of events and sporting events. And so if he had proper shoes on, I think he and I would have ended up in some kind of foot race. But I would have needed I told him I would have needed a head start because I'm fat. And so Paul was saying that, it would have been a foot race between, I guess it would be a foot race between me and you not getting into the Octagon with your wrestling background and my jiu-jitsu background, I guess.
Oh, well, you never know. So maybe he's making fun of us. That's a possibility. And now I had this conversation with my wife just this week, and it has to do with making fun of people. So we'll just take a moment to think about this. If somebody is making fun of you and they know you well, it's because they like you.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you don't know somebody and they're making fun of you, it could be because they like you. Or they don't. You don't know because you don't know the person, right? But if you know the person well, and you know that you get along, you're friendly, everything's cool, and that person starts making fun of you a lot, it's a good sign that they appreciate you as a person. So I think in this case, Paul is appreciating you, and possibly appreciating both of us. I don't know. it's a mystery because I don't know Paul a lot. So for me, it's a higher degree of risk. I don't know if he's making fun of us for being fat guys or not. Paul but for you know him, so you thinking this is a good one, right?
Paul has nothing but love.
I agree. The actions and the word on the street is Paul Barron's like a superhero. So I think you're right there. Anyways, going through the comments, and again, we'll come back to the regular conversation after we clear the comments, if they get cleared out, because this is a live stream, and as we go through them, people can make more comments, which is the magic of live streams. So Rana comes back. He says, Paul Barron, yes! So Rana is with Paul Barron about the foot race. And then you made a comment, even though you're also on the live stream. Brandon Young says, I need a head start, right? So, and we just talked about that. So you touched on Miami, and this has been a reoccurring theme on the people that I've been talking with on live streams this week, right? So I spoke with Melissa Simonson, who turns out was in Miami, and you were in Miami. Paul Barron, who's making comments, was in Miami. Rana Singh was in Miami, and also I talked with McLean Gordon, and she was in Miami. And I also talked with Ritu, the PPC Ninja. Now, she's Canadian, but was not in Miami. Interesting thing. And then Megla, of course, she's in Singapore. She was not in Miami. So some people were in Miami and some people weren't. Brandon, from your perspective, and I've asked every person that was on this Miami thing what happened in Miami, but really, from your perspective, can you tell us just for a moment, just for not too long, but what happened in Miami?
So I'm pretty sure it was Melissa Simonson's event for Empowery, but they were having a women's and Amazon breakout, maybe just like a getaway with a bunch of influencers and people in the space. And some of us guys, I'm local, but some other guys got convinced to attend and to hang out as well. And so it turned out to be just a bunch of socializing, fun stuff. I don't know all the stuff that they accomplished. I know they spoke at Wizards with Carlos. They had something that they did with him. They went on a boat. They had a yacht, private yacht, only women on that one. I saw some of the videos. It looked pretty fun. Yeah. And so I guess they had a nice event here, and I showed up just for one afternoon. I went to the pool. I brought Aiden, my son, and we hung out.
How old's your son?
He's 10.
Do you have just one son?
Yeah.
So, interesting fact. You have one son, and your son is 10. I also have a son. His name is 10. No, his name is not 10. He is 10. His also
name 10, and he is 18 years old. No.
He's 18 years old. Aiden's the name of your son.
Yeah.
And then my 10-year-old son is Oliver. And then there's also, because it's all about data, I have the bell curve distribution of children. So Oliver's in the middle, he's 10, and then Jonathan's 11, and Alexis is 9. So we got 9, 10, 11. And
Perfect.
A little bit of mix, 2 boys and a girl. It's a good bell curve, good distribution, good data. So Carlos and the Wizards of Amazon and the yacht in Miami. Now, interesting, if you get a chance, I know you're super busy, and I know we all have different priorities, but if you have a chance, I encourage you, Brandon, specifically, to take a moment and, throw it up on 2 times play speed and watch the 2 live interviews or 3 or 4 or the previous live interviews we've already done and see how your story of Miami compares with the other stories that we've had throughout the week. Because during the live streams, embedded in all the live streams, there is a what happened in Miami tab. Okay. And you can see it on the video because when I put it up and it's recorded, it says what happened in Miami. So just scrub to that part and listen to the stories from Miami from different perspectives, right? So from Brandon's perspective, something was going on already in Miami. You live in Miami, right?
Yeah, I live in Miami.
All right. So he's already there. And a bunch of people showed up. Something was going on. They all seemed to be involved with Melissa's Empowery. And then there was some kind of yacht. But the women that were Empowery people showed up and they went on a yacht in Miami. I don't know why, but eventually they showed up at Carlos's Wizards of Amazon, which of course you're a member of. And something to do with dodgeball. Your son Aiden, Barron, is a summary of just a little micro summary, the story within a story of what happened in Miami. So if you have a chance, Brandon, check out the other perspectives. There is a very wide degree of uncertainty here because if this was a police investigation about what happened in Miami, the conclusion would be we need more data because we got
I think a lot of us don't know why we showed up other than there was potentially a dodgeball game to be had. That's enough to get Paul anywhere. And then, I was excited about the dodgeball and the potential to see a bunch of friends that were in town. So I showed up prepared, and it didn't happen. So I was sad. Paul was sad. And then as a consolation, I was like, well, we could just race because that's also like some kind of Olympic sport, and not that dodgeball is. And so, but I was like, but I need a head start. And, and I didn't want to get wet. So there was no swimming or anything. Aiden was swimming. I was not.
Yep.
And then Aiden started racing people around the yard that was next to the pool and where we were hanging out. And so there was racing that happened. Aiden ran against some people. I did not get a chance to run. Luckily, I'll probably tear something at this point or pull something. And then, that was it. That was Miami. That's my Miami. What happened in Miami?
Okay, and that was just a quick break from the comments because we haven't quite got through all of them yet. We were at where were we here? We were at Paul Barron, of course. Paul Barron said it would be a foot race. Rana, Paul Barron, yes, of course. And then you were commenting, I need a head start, so that's good. And then, okay, so here's where we left off. Rana saying comments live. This is the live show, guys. So if you have a comment, put it in the comments. Rana says, Paul Barron, Aiden would cook both your asses. And when he says asses, I understand there's a joke. We're supposed to say castle. He would kick both their castles. So this is just specifically inside joke for Rana. Make it happen. Dreams can come true. And now this may or may not be a reference to the song. Are you familiar with the Just Do It song remix featuring Shia LaBeouf on YouTube?
I am not. No.
All right. So there's a YouTube remix. I don't call it a music video, a dance video. And one of the lyrics in this is make it happen. Dreams can come true. Essentially, that's not exactly the word in it. So I don't know if this comes from that or not, but absolutely, Rana, I believe that anything is possible. Anything that is possible, and your dreams can come true. And I'd also add for anybody who's watching the replay, just do it. Now, then we had Aaron. Now, Aaron. Join the inner circle today. Is Aaron in the inner circle?
He is. He is in the inner circle.
How many circles are there?
There is one inner circle.
And how many people are in it?
Active now, there's a little over 800.
800 people are in the inner circle. What about, is there like an outer circle?
I would imagine that would be everybody that isn't in the inner circle.
You're talking in Venn diagram speak now. Let's bring it in here. You have a mastermind that is not the inner circle, and that has, like you said earlier, around 3,000 people.
Yeah, so no, that's all course content that I've done. And the inner circle is an annual mastermind membership. And currently there are 800 active members in that.
That is a lot of minds to be masterminding. Is there like groups of people in the inner circle? How do you manage 800 people in an inner circle mastermind?
Well, the point of a mastermind is that it's not one person that is the mastermind. It is everybody that is helping each other. So we have over 200 members who are 7 or 8 figure sellers. So the breakdown is pretty cool. It's about a third people that have never sold before. About another third that are doing maybe 6 figures, have launched a product or 2 or 3, and then some larger sellers. And so when anyone asks a question, we teach a real abundance mentality, which is, the more you give, the more you receive. And so a lot of the time, I'm not even needed to answer any questions. But then every single week, I do a live call where I answer any questions about 2 calls. I do a post-launch call and a pre-launch call. So if you have a question about, hey, I've already launched and I've got a question about X, then you can ask it. And I've got a pre-launch call, which is everything from research to preparation for launch. And I answer all questions until they're all answered.
That's a good strategy. Leave no unanswered questions. I have found in my groups that when a question goes unanswered, it turns into angry people. So answering all the questions is a good idea. If you're any
it's a good policy. Yeah.
If there's a public question out there, good idea to answer the question, or to encourage other people to answer the question so that it gets answered, because it's a real question somebody really wants to know, right? All right. So speaking of which, Aaron has a follow-up here with a comment live. Shameless plug, referring, of course, to the Inner Circle. Join Inner Circle today. So let me ask you this, Brandon. If somebody wanted to join this Inner Circle, first of all, does it have a name, or is it just called the Inner Circle?
So it's Seller Systems is the course, and then currently there is no option just to purchase the course content. It comes with a year in the Inner Circle.
Okay. And how does somebody...
There will be an option to buy just the course content for a little bit less without the mastermind, without the Inner Circle.
So Aaron says join the Inner Circle today. If somebody wanted to join the Inner Circle today, how would they do that? What's the process?
It's pretty simple. You can go to seller-systems.com/inner circle, and you can sign up. I appreciate you. I wasn't even intending really to talk about it. If you want, I can set up a coupon code for everybody that catches this with your name. And so I could do, it's normally 3,000, and so that's 1,000 to renew each year to stay in the Inner Circle. What I can do is I can do $750 off for everyone that uses Jacob 750.
Okay, I would say yes. Do that.
I wasn't really intending on really talking about the Inner Circle or signing up. I appreciate it. Please don't sign up if you guys aren't serious about private label and really going to do it. If you're not sure, I have a masterclass. I would much rather you start there. That I can give you for just $20. It's 5 hours. It shows you the data. It shows you how we look at it. It shows you how we source. It really walks you through the process. And then that way you know whether this is the right business for you. So I'd rather you spend $20 and then instead of spending thousands of dollars to realize that this isn't the right business for you. So it's more of like a qualifier. And then if you decide that you're serious about starting an Amazon private label business and that you really do want to do this business, realizing how hard it is, but how rewarding it can be, then please sign up. If you're already trying private label and you've maybe watched some of their content, maybe taken another course, and you're sure you want to take your business to the next level, even if you're already a 6 or 7 figure seller, I can help you get to the next level beyond that. Then you can sign up and join us. But I don't need your money. Don't sign up if you're not going to do anything with the content, please. Oh, the power apparently just went out. I am alone. I just got a message from Jacob. The power just went out in our house, and I am in a dark room, no power. Okay. So hi. I'm going to shut down the stream in a minute for Jacob. But if you're coming, I think the ultimate thing was that we were talking about how we were going to party in Vegas for Prosper. So if you guys are coming to Prosper to attend the conference or just to network, then I'm going to be throwing a workshop on launches on Tuesday from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. So 7 hours of workshop. And I am also going to be throwing a party at Topgolf that night from 9 to 12. So I am sorry that we lost Jacob, and I hope he's okay. I hope everyone's okay. He's messaging me. It looks like he's okay. Tara's messaging that you guys are okay. So I appreciate everyone watching. I'm getting the coupon set up. Message me if you need me. Jacob, thank you for your time, man. This was fun. We will have to connect again. But enjoy your weekend, guys. And nice to meet a lot of you if you haven't met me before. Take care.
And we're back. Hello, welcome back. So if you're still watching live, I understand the live stream is still playing, and I wanted to give you a quick update, real time. So the power just went out, and we lost all the connections. Everything turned off. No internet, no computer, no lights went out. It was darkness. It was kind of like pre-electricity times, right? And hashtag, I don't have a generator. So I can see that people are still watching live, and they're probably maybe they're not like walked away from the computer. They're like, there's nothing happening. Everybody left, right? So if you're watching live, can you do a quick comment so that I understand what's happening here? I'm trying to grasp the reality for right now.
There's 3 people watching still.
I know that, but who are they? Maybe we'll bring them on because Brandon had to go. So guys, here's a quick update on Brandon. He's at the office with Aiden, and the office is not a home office. It's away from the office. So away from home. So he had to go home. Well, the power was off here, and I couldn't talk about that with anybody. So if you're watching, can you comment, and then maybe I'll bring you on, and we can have a chat. Maybe Rana is there, or Aaron, or Paul, or I don't know.
4 people.
There's a bunch of people watching live. Who are you? What's going on? And what's going to happen to the live stream? Like, will it blank? What does it even show when nobody's here? I'm not even connected. I can't even hear anything. What's going on here? Oh, no. This is, my headphones have batteries, so they're still on. I wasn't connected to my computer because the power went off. My wife is watching, but she was in the shower, so not a good idea to bring you on live right now because you're not wearing any clothing. So you can hear my wife. You're welcome to come and laugh into the microphone. I'm sure people would like that. But basically, the power went off. I'm sorry about the live stream. The special guest went home. Ravi Teja P is watching. Thank you for watching. I'm going to end the live stream because let's face it. When the power goes off and your special live stream guest leaves the office midstream, and then the power comes back on and the stream continues, it's a sign that to wrap up the live stream. So thank you for joining us today, guys. If there's no other comments, or if you are not interested in coming on and doing a live show for the continuation of this part 1 of possibly a two-part live stream series with Brandon Young, tune in next time, because you never really know what's going to happen. Maybe, as Rana has suggested, maybe you can catch Brandon and I live in the Octagon in Vegas. You never know. You never know. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you guys later. I love you all for watching. And if you're watching the replay, #chaos. It's possible. All right. See you guys later. Bye.